The Marais district located in the heart of Paris. The Marais district finest hour would come during the 17th century, when the many aristocrats who lived there transformed it into a fashionable district. In the 18th century, the nobility gradually abandoned the district in favor of the Faubourg Saint-Honor or the Faubourg Saint-Germain. Even here, it's like those little things is killing my GPU. What the hell? In spite of, and it's clean, it's like removed dust 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago even. In spite of this departure, the Marais would always retain its image as an aristocratic district, which meant that with the coming of the revolution, rioters would set about destroying the many symbols of royalty and nobility that were found there. With the revolution, the district changed progressively. The abandoned townhouses were taken by merchants to form warehouses or workshops. The beautiful homes were thus preserved, and so the Marais became inhabited by more modest people who kept shops or practiced craft trades, which in turn gave way to small factories and semi-industrialized trades of the 9th century. Wow. Hotel dos Paris, built on the command of Louis XV, the household organization responsible for preparing royal ceremonies and festivals, the Hotel des Paris in various areas. It was famous as the site of the Estate General in 1789. During the Revolution, it served variously as a courthouse, barracks, and a distribution center. Much of the historic building was destroyed in the 80s. When the property was sold to private citizens today, the site is home to the central, the Baroque is with the Mercedes. Newspaper stands and printing presses. One of the most spectacular aspects of commerce during the Revolution period was the boom in printing driven by the explosion in the number of publications. Before 1789, censorship tightly controlled the production of literary works, including periodicals. With the Revolution, however, the printing industry blossomed. In June 1789, only 5 newspapers were on sale. By December the same year, the figure had risen to 150. Among the most important papers of the Revolutionary were Camille Desmoulins, La Vie Cordelière, Jacques Biscuit Grundis, Le Patriote Français, Jacques René Weber, Le Père Duchesse, and Jean-Paul Marat claimed to people. These papers reached a huge number of Parisians, even those who were unfamiliar with reading, since it was not uncommon to find individuals who read articles aloud in the middle of the street to persuade others. The Bastille. The Bastille was one of the many construction projects undertaken by Charles V and V, and was intended to protect the Port Saint Antoine Gate and its adjoining St. Paul Palace. As the centuries wore on and the fortress became less useful as a fortification, it was used more and more often as a prison, finally being completely dedicated to that purpose under the reign of Louis XIV. The prisoners, however, rarely numbered more than 40 each year, were most commonly political prisoners. Okay, here's like Bastille. Okay, and about events. Storming of the Bastille. With the price of bread at an all-time high in July of 1789, Paris was on the brink of revolt. When word reached the city that Louis XVI had dismissed his financial so it was taken as a sign of impending chaos attempted by conservative factions within the government. Seeking to arm themselves against this coup, a procession of radicals gathered and headed for the left bank, where they seized some 40,000 muskets from the armory at the Hotel des Invalides. However, there was no powder or shot to be had, and so the revolutionaries made for the Bastille. At the time there were over 50,000 pounds of powder and shot stored within the prison. The governor, Bernard Jean Launay, had less than 100 men, mainly veteran soldiers and Swiss guards, to hold the prison against perhaps 1,000 insurgents. The Launay refused to surrender, and his forces was quickly overrun. The powder was seized, and the prisoners, all 7 remaining in the Bastille, were freed. When told of the attack by the Duke of La Rochefoucauld, Louis XVI was reported to ask, "Is it revolt?" The Duke replied, "No, sire, it is a revolution." Actually, that one doesn't work quite so well within the Here about people, let's just ignore it. Guys, I know what I missed. The father of Elise was a Templar. We had a letter that was warning him that I could be like... For some reason I knew. I didn't tell, I know. But I knew.
Eh bien, qu'est-ce que vous préparez?
You know, I wonder about one configuration button. Where's sprint, jump, track, no, free look, no. We'll use skill, whatever. Yes, seriously, I have to what? Remember all those tricks? That's madness. This is Sparta. Where can I go? This is... Oh, dude. No, let's do this. This is a filthy thing to do. We can take it back. Seriously. Okay, we've hidden our... What?
Ah, no, you got cold feet! Come here, and I'll ice the rest of you! Halt! Stay there, you!
What the fuck is it? The crossing? What the fuck, dude?
Alors, il n'y en aura pas pour tout le monde. Oui, monsieur, pour quelle quantité? Non, le drôle, le prix n'est pas négociable.
We still... Oh, this...
J'ai du bon grain à vendre, 60 livres par sétier, c'est une occasion à saisir. Alors, il n'y en aura pas pour tout le monde. Oui, monsieur,
But I'm doing this with number. This is weird.
le drôle, le prix n'est pas négociable. Madame, là-bas, combien m'en offrez-vous? 70 livres?
Okay, never mind. Let's see, where are we? Here, we don't know what's the money for. That means we need it.
Allons, il n'y en aura pas pour tout le monde. Oui, monsieur.
Ma parole, quel aventurier!
Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé, cette agitation?
Bad guys.
On devrait leur couper les doigts.
No.
Ils méritent. Et voilà, encore une victime innocente.
Okay, so I need a skill after all. And this is a skill. What are those? Parish stories. Okay, some kinda missions. This is the same. Here's like difficulty. Oh, there's difficulty. Players max 1. Players max 1. Could someone play with me this game? Okay, let's do Paris stories.
C'est distrayant.
Combien m'en offrez-vous? 70 livres.
The last the justice. Using the old noggins, retrieve famous served heads for $1,000. Accept and track, or only accept? What's the difference? Accept and track.
I'm adept at making wax figures and death masks. I promised the assembly I would make masks of famous victims of the guillotine. It's grisly, but it was the only way to get out of prison. And now someone has stolen the heads I was given. Could you please find them for me?
A friend found out something you might find important. She sent me this letter.
Sure, madame. I was learned that a certain politician flushed with pride, strong overthrowing the Girondins, has persecuted the head of Sheikh Pierre Biscot, who sent this time from you. He works near the concierge, your devoted friend. Blah 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 blah. Like in France, blah 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 blah.
Rumour has it that a soldier who guards Sainte-Chapelle wanted the head of Olympe de Gouges. He was in love with her from afar.
The judge at the Palais de Justice who condemned Jacques Hébert apparently wanted Hébert's head as a trophy.
Funny thing, now it's okay with temperature, but when I... What the fuck happening? This game is a killer. Let's do it every time. X 2018 doesn't make. But that's the problem is now we have 16. Temperature drop down. So some settings are like, oh, disaster. Anyway, 60. And now Nah, didn't change. Still, I wonder because see. Where's this thing? Come on. Stopped working again. Buggy game. It's what? How many years after this game and it's still. Okay, I like on this. Those stairs are where to?
What's the password? What's the password?
Access database. La Catacombs. La Bank of Paris is built on which limestone deposits the stone from which built much of the city. Initially the stones was mined well out from the city proper, but as Paris expanded it gradually discovered even the mined out areas. Since medieval mining involved digging a well down to the stone deposit and then tunneling horizontally until the vein was depleted, the result was a vast, intricate maze of tunnels beneath the streets. A series of building collapses beginning in 1774 proved that the tunnels could no longer be ignored, and in 1788 Police Lieutenant Hugh Snap decided to act. Hughes had the quarries within an area of 240 hectares surveyed and registered. He saw the old mine shafts as an opportunity to solve another pressing problem. What to do with the bones of hundreds of thousands of dead people from the innocent cemetery, which were so densely packed that they literally spilled out into the basement of adjoining buildings? What the fuck? Thanks to figures, 6 million deceased were crammed into the quarry, sometimes 30 meters thick. Among the mortal remains are those of Furious himself, along with 800 victims of the September massacre of 1792. Later, architects transformed the caverns to a proper mausoleum, complete with the following epigraph by poet Jacques Delille: "Stop, here lies the empire of death." Bones and skulls were arranged in interact patterns, and special chambers were set up museum-like to display samples of the various types of stones found by Paris and the innumerable skeletal deformities to be found among the catacombs' inhabitants. These unusual aesthetics have made the catacombs a popular tourist destination since the early 80s. 1800s. Yeah, for sequels. Yeah, I think it's still. Why are you lying? Guys, did they do something? What the fuck? By the way, now is the GPU down. I think I can tweak it. I don't know, it's like. NCA, maybe? Is this what? Bomb it. No, let's leave it on the. Okay, let's play with this. Don't fuck it up. Le parcours. Retrieve the hats. Okay, Lolas, the Justice, the ancient and order beneath that overlooks the Loch Roche, with its elaborate clock featuring figures of justice and law, was initially built in 1296 by Philip IV of France in spite of his financial woes. It was here that he consolidated the dispensation of justice, although the judge soon came to be infamous for the corruption. During the revolution, the palace housed the much feared revolutionary tribunal. Oh, here's one, second one. How am I supposed to do this? Dude, I'm not here, I'm one of them. Yes, I'm one of them. Stop sneaking. Ah, fuck. Oh, so many of them. I've heard something about difficulty of this game. I guess that's true. That wasn't smart at all.
Lovely disappearing trick.
This is slow.
Never, son of a... Where?
No, come on. Oh, we stuck. Nice. Those guys doesn't count. Wrong sack? Oh, come on, I thought it was... Oh, dudes, shut the...
See if I don't.
Cherry pump, what the hell is cherry pump? Nah, I didn't see it. Hey, he's fucking working here. Come on, guys. Good. But yeah, this is the easiest mission that they say. Okay, we can go there. Sainte-Chapelle. The Sainte-Chapelle or Holy Chapelle was built by Louis IX, later canonized as a St. Louis whose priest crown of France, which he had just purchased from Baldwin II of Constantinople. The edifice is a unique example of seemingly invisible stone windows take up all the space between the structural support. Perhaps more extraordinary is that it was built in just 2 years. What the fuck? Between 1246 and 1248. It is set on 2 levels. The lower level was for Parisians and the people of the court. The upper level was for the king and his family. On important occasions, the king presented the crown taken from the reliquary, to which alone he had the key, to the kneeling congregation. It came close to being demolished during the Revolution, but would eventually be used as a first store, a club room for the Section de la Cise, and finally a store for keeping gold papers, which effectively saved it, since it served the people. It bore a sign proclaiming national property for sale to 1857. All the sacred vessels and precious books had long since disappeared, but the heritage sold everything in France. This for sale, they sold everything from Versailles. They sold this property. What? Ooh. Up. Hey Mark, yep, he went. I was like afraid of him. Hey, how are you? Oh, wow. The other place to steal the head of something. That's good to hear. Mon ami, as they say in France, I guess. I'm as well fine. Kinda had short sleep. Wow. Happens from time to time. Raise the heads. Sabotage. Oh. No. The same moment, dude. I thought I was actually gonna go forward.
Alright, he can banish at will.
Demandais-je des dommagements pour autant? Dépassez les barres. C'est une nouvelle ère. Toutes les dettes sont effacées, la mienne comme la vôtre.
Key? Key to what? Hello. Psh. There is some icon. No idea what this icon is for. Monsieur Garage. This is the building that this palace. Another palace, huh? This palace was the seat of the kings of France from the 10th century up to the middle of the 14th, when Charles V abandoned it for the Louvre. By the early 15th century, it was primarily used as a prison, though the name concierge from concierge, keeper of the royal palace stuck. By the time of the revolution, the concierge was the main prison in Paris. Before Bastille, then. For many, it was the last stop before execution, which earned it the nickname antechamber of the guillotine. The concierge was also called the most lucrative furnished lodging in Paris. Prisoners were allowed to rent a bed for 27 livres a month, but since many were executed after only a few days, jailers could rent out of the same bed sometimes 10 times a month. Good business.